Hello everyone, I'm Shirley Gonski and I have been using the Bernina digitizing software since I guess 2008. I've had several really good teachers inspire me, so I sometimes comment on the Facebook page, and I have begun this series of little tutorials to help. Today's tutorial is going to be on the Block Digitizing Tool. I've started with a new blank canvas and I'm going to click on the Block Digitizing Tool. Notice that the Block Digitizing Tool is really good at making pointy objects like leaves or flourishes, flower petals. It lets you add the stitch lines, the stitch angle lines, and the digitizing lines at the same time. So as you see here, I'm clicking to make my object, and I am as I go adding a stitch line. Now when I added them, they're all pretty much parallel. So now I'm going to come back and edit them. The first thing I'm going to do is turn them to round points instead of square points. Then I'm going to, on the other side of the object, I'm going to turn them into round points, but I'm going to move them in. So I make a little curve here. We will say this is going to be a little flourish on a bunch of scroll work. So block digitizing is very useful for letters and for shapes where there is a column shape, and where you want the stitch lines to follow the shape of the object. Let's see, I've turned my object into a little paisley shape, and I want the stitch angle to follow the inside curve of that object. And so I can now make every one of these lines across my object be a different curve. It's very much like if we had used the circular tool, effect tool. Notice that my two original points are up here, and they're still where everything starts, and that my end point is coming to an exact end point, is very sharp. It still requires two end points to stop this object, and so if we zoom in to a high zoom level, you'll see that these 2 points right here are still the end of my object, and it's where the right side meets the left side. They can be very, very close together on top of each other and give you a really nice sharp point. When sometimes you notice that you use some of the other digitizing tools and you get a very sharp point, the 3D will carry the line really far out there and it will look crazy. Using the Block Digitizing Tool is a way to remedy that, because even if these are on top of each other, there's still 2 of them, and they're definitely going to always signify the end point of your object. So I really like the Block Digitizing Tool for things where it's a satin fill. You have to keep your object small, of course, if it's a satin fill, because, like, for example, this one is those long satin stitches are too long. I shouldn't be having threads that long, but just to show you how pretty the Block Digitizing Tool is when you make an object and the and you're able to use the additional stitch angle lines to make the lines follow the shape of the object. So that's all for today. I hope you play with your block digitizing tool and see how you can make really interesting shapes.